We have reviewed all of your documents. Please, sir, we just want to be safe. I understand, but I need you to answer truthfully.
The immigration officer slowly closed the thick file, looked straight into the exhausted father's eyes, and asked one unexpected question. The room fell silent. Every document had been verified. Every form had been approved. Every step of the immigration process had been completed. Yet the answer to this single question would become the moment that changed two lives forever. Before we begin, if you believe kindness, hope, and perseverance can change a family's future, please like this video, subscribe to Single Dad Empire, and share this story with someone who needs encouragement today. Daniel Brooks had never imagined raising his daughter alone. 3 years earlier, he had lost his wife after a long illness, leaving him to care for 7-year-old Emma. Since then, every sunrise meant another battle. He worked at a construction site during the day and cleaned office buildings at night. His hands were covered in scars, his back constantly ached, and sleep had become a luxury he could no longer afford. Their tiny apartment was old and cramped. Rain leaked through the ceiling whenever storms arrived. During winter, cold air slipped through broken window frames. Still, Daniel tried to make every evening special. They laughed over simple dinners, read bedtime stories together, and dreamed about a future where Emma would never have to worry about money again. One evening, Emma came home from school carrying a drawing. It showed a beautiful house with flowers in the front yard. In one corner she had written, "One day we will live here, Daddy." Daniel smiled, but tears quietly filled his eyes. That night, after Emma had fallen asleep, he searched online for immigration programs that accepted skilled construction workers. He discovered there were countries looking for hardworking people willing to build better lives. For the first time in years, hope returned. The journey was far from easy. He collected birth certificates, marriage certificates, his wife's death certificate, employment records, police clearances, tax documents, medical reports, and educational certificates. Every document required another appointment. Every appointment required another fee. Every delay meant another month of waiting. Sometimes government offices misplaced paperwork. Sometimes rules changed. Sometimes officials requested additional documents he had never heard of before. There were moments when Daniel wanted to quit. One evening, after paying for certified translations, he counted the money left in his wallet. Only $18 remained. Rent was due within the week. Instead of buying dinner for himself, he bought Emma her favorite soup and quietly told her he wasn't hungry. Parents often hide their sacrifices behind smiles. Months passed. Then a full year. Every morning Daniel checked his email before work. Every evening he refreshed the immigration website. Nothing. Silence became part of his daily life. Emma noticed the sadness on her father's face. She began leaving handwritten notes beside his lunchbox. "You are the strongest dad in the world. We will never give up. I believe in you." Daniel kept every note inside his wallet. Finally, after nearly 18 months of waiting, an email arrived. His immigration interview had been scheduled. His heart raced. This was the opportunity he had spent years preparing for. The night before the interview, Daniel carefully arranged every document into separate folders. He ironed his only suit, although it was nearly 10 years old. Emma polished his shoes until they looked almost new. Early the next morning they arrived at the immigration office. Families from many different countries filled the waiting room. Everyone carried thick folders and nervous expressions. Everyone hoped today would be the beginning of a better future. First came document verification. Every certificate was carefully examined. Every signature was checked. Every record was entered into the computer. Daniel silently prayed that nothing would be missing. Finally, an officer nodded. Everything was complete. Only the interview remained. Inside the interview room sat a calm immigration officer with years of experience. He welcomed Daniel politely before asking questions about his education, work history, financial situation, and future plans. Daniel answered honestly. He explained that he wanted nothing more than a safe place where Emma could receive a good education and grow up with opportunities he never had. The officer listened carefully. Minutes passed. Everything seemed to be going well. Then the officer closed Daniel's file. He folded his hands and asked one unexpected question. If your application is refused today, what lesson will your daughter learn from watching you walk out of this room? Daniel froze. No immigration website had prepared him for that question. He looked at Emma sitting quietly beside him. Then he answered from his heart. He explained that becoming a good father mattered more than receiving a visa. He wanted Emma to remember his courage, not his success. The room became silent. The officer lowered his eyes for a moment before thanking Daniel for his honesty. The interview ended. No decision was announced. They returned home to wait once again. 3 weeks later, while pouring concrete at the construction site, Daniel received an email. With trembling hands, he opened it. His application had been approved. For several seconds he couldn't breathe. Years of sacrifice, sleepless nights, and impossible choices had finally led to this moment. That afternoon he surprised Emma outside her school. Without saying a word, he handed her the approval letter. She read it twice before realizing what it meant. Then she burst into tears and hugged her father tighter than ever before. Several months later they boarded an airplane together. As the plane rose above the clouds, Daniel looked out the window and quietly thanked everyone who had believed in him. Starting over in a new country wasn't easy. He worked long hours again. He learned new systems. He adapted to a different culture. But every challenge felt worthwhile because Emma smiled more than ever before. Years later, Emma graduated at the top of her class. During her graduation speech, she looked toward her father and said, "My dad taught me that courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is refusing to stop even when life gives you every reason to quit." The audience stood and applauded. Daniel realized that the immigration interview had never really been about paperwork. It had been about character. The unexpected question had revealed something far more valuable than documents. It had revealed the heart of a father who would sacrifice everything for his daughter. Sometimes the greatest journeys don't begin with a visa. They begin with love, determination, and the courage to keep moving forward, no matter how difficult the road becomes. If this story touched your heart, write "Never Give Up" in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Single Dad Empire for more emotional and inspiring stories.